Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Paramount number 1079 3.5 satin chrome hinge. This is a nice quality hinge. There's no question about that. The 1079 is means a handful of things, and let's go over it. In no particular order, it means that it is a full mortise hinge. You can see from the swag on the hinge leaves. You can see from the swag on the hinge leaves there down in here that when the leaves are brought parallel, they're meant to be mortised flush to the edge of the door and frame, so that you maintain that margin between the door and the frame. It also means that this hinge is made of steel. Okay. It also means that it is a plain bearing 5-knuckle hinge. 5-knuckle, there are no ball bearing packets. Means that it's what we would call a standard duty hinge or standard weight hinge, which means it's probably going to be about 123 thousandths thick, in that range. Let's take a look. The caliper says 0.117, 117 thousandths thick. The manufacturer's catalog says 123 thousandths. So a little shy on that. Not to be anything, nothing to be overly concerned about. It's a negligible amount of difference. Removable pin. You can easily set something into here and tap and drive that pin out. That's what's called a button tip. And they're sold as each. The manufacturer may put 3 in a box, but if you buy 4, there'll be 3 in a box and then a loose hinge. So be mindful to order them appropriately. Some people say, why, they're 3 in a box. Why aren't they priced per box? Well, what if you have an 8-foot door and you need 4 hinges? Do I make you buy 6? Just sell them as each. What if you had a Dutch door? You need 4 hinges. What if you had a door that was only, if you had an access door in your garage and you needed 2? So anyway, they're sold as each is the bottom line. This hinge is a 3.5, 3.5. That means that the height is 3.5 inch. And the width is 3.5 inch. Sorry, 3.5, 3.5. The height is the first dimension. Why is that important? You could buy a 3.5 by 3. You could buy a 3.5 by 5. You can buy hinges that are rectangular, is my point, either taller or wider. It's important to note that we're defining the first dimension in the set as the height. That's just important to know. This hinge has a link below this video to a document called Template. It's really a cut sheet and a template sort of scenario. What they're going to do is give you an overview of the items that we've just kind of discussed. You will get all machine and all wood screws with your hinge. Okay. This client happened to order 360 hinges, so we've got lots of boxes of 3 here for the client. So you will get wood screws and machine screws. You could be doing a steel frame installation. There are 1 3/8 doors that are condo buildings on the northern part of Chicago along the lakefront. Condo buildings full of hollow metal frames and 1 3/8 doors. If you are replacing hinges, it wouldn't be a bad idea to review that template and on page 2, look and see where the holes are located according to that chart that's there. Would permit you to eliminate any guesswork. This is a standardized hole pattern for 3.5 inch, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you have. So double check and be sure. Okay. That chart will also give you other sizes as well, because this document serves as a cut sheet for 3.5 by 3.5, 4 by 4, 4.5 by 4, 4.5 by 4. 4.5, 4.5, and then 5 by 5. Why the different sizes? Well, here's why. An 1 3/8 door, the biggest hinge you can put on there is 3.5 inch wide. 3.5 by 3.5. A 4 by 4, you can use that on 1 3/8, but it's better used when we are dealing with an 1 3/4 thick door. So if you literally have 1 3/8 doors, stick with a 3.5, 3.5. If you have an 1.75" door, you can go with 4.5 by 4, or more commonly 4.5 by 4.5. Some people like the 4.5 by 4 because the projection of the hardware off the face of the door and frame is 1/4 inch less. Projecting hardware is not really ever good, especially when it's excessive, and you might deem that having too much of it is excessive. 4.5 by 4.5 is so ubiquitous, you're really only going to ever see that sort of width and height. Now, you will see 4.5 by 4 on aluminum storefront. That's actually very standard for that sort of industry. And if you have openings where you don't have any projecting trim at all, and really a condition of the wall where your wall is perpendicular to the outside of the frame, I would literally go with a 4-inch wide and then a 4 tall or a 4.5 tall. I would seriously consider that for 1.75" thick doors. If you get to a 2-inch door or a 2.25" inch thick door, then your 5 by 5 is going to come into play. Your 4.5 by 4, 4.5, 4.5, 5 by 5, those are available as heavyweight as well. The thickness of the leaf goes up by about 50%. Not necessarily available in all of those from Paramount, but they do the 4.5, 4.5, and the 5 by 5 certainly. Just a little background on the hinges. This is made of steel. I may have demonstrated that earlier. This has a satin chrome plated finish to it. Satin chrome over steel is the second most durable finish available. It's the most durable of the plated finishes. The most durable natural finish would be stainless steel satin over a stainless base material. You can order this as solid stainless as well. That would be a part number 1091 rather than a 1079. Okay. That exhausts everything on the cut sheet or the template. You're going to use this hinge when you have interior 1 3/8 doors. That's where you're going to use it. You're going to have a thicker door as well, but you're going to increase the back set, the part of the door that's not mortised for the hinge, so be mindful of that. If you want a good quality hinge for an 1 3/8 door, this would be a great option. If you're going to buy hinges, though, I would really, personally, I would avoid plain bearing. If you have incredibly low volume on a door, it's hard to really measure the increased value to you of a ball bearing hinge. But if you have any volume over it whatsoever, you will notice in a short time, maybe as soon as 2 years, the advantage of a ball bearing hinge. What's going to happen is the gap between this material is going to widen significantly. The door is going to sag. The door closer won't work really well. You can have a number of sorts of problems like that. So be mindful of that. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Paramount products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. The name Paramount is synonymous with good quality imported builder's hardware, whether that be hinges, door closers, lock sets, and exit devices. Very good quality. If you are a contractor or subcontractor and you're supplying and installing hollow metal doors on the back of a strip mall, Paramount is a great choice. Good quality material. Your end user might say, save me some money. You could do so very effectively with the Paramount product line for that hinge, door closer, exit device. Backed by people who are just really great with customer service and are very forward thinking when it comes to their customer service. And as a result, I would suggest that you consider them. Review their product catalog, especially if you have more than an occasional need for good quality imported builder's hardware. I think you'd be pleased. Once we turn people on to Paramount, it's not easy to keep them going with the Paramount line as the bottom line. And their inventory is deep and they ship quickly as well, which in this day and age is what really people are looking for. Any questions on the 1079 and a 3.5, 3.5 and a satin chrome 26D finish, also known as 652, or any other Paramount product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.